Today's F1 news, and I'm going to give you a trigger alert warning. If you're a Charles Leclerc fan, you're not going to want to watch this because I woke up after the Dutch Grand Prix yesterday and I am furious. Let's get into it. This is F1 Grandstand. I'm Tony Craig, and if you are an F1 fan, you are in the right place. Do smash a like on the video if you do enjoy it at your earliest convenience, and do come and subscribe to the channel. It's not just about all of our content, which is live news on a daily basis, live news show, F1 news at 7:30 UK time, breaking news, watch-alongs. It's all about the community. Honestly, best community on the internet. So come and join us. You're very, very welcome here. But let me get into it. I'm furious. I am furious. We all watched the race together yesterday. We had 79,000 watching with us yesterday. It was unbelievable. And we all saw the same thing. And you're going to know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to set the scene. So qualifying. Lewis Hamilton qualifies P5. Charles Leclerc qualifies P6. Hamilton dropped behind Leclerc on the opening lap of the race, but ran longer on his first stint, which gave him a really powerful tyre offset for the second stint. And what we mean by that is in the second stint, his tyres were better as Charles Leclerc's were going off, which meant that Lewis Hamilton was the faster car, but behind Charles Leclerc. So if we are to believe what Fred Vasseur said last week, we covered it on our F1 news show, which was Fred Vasseur made a statement to the press, which is both of our drivers need to put their personal ambitions to one side. And now the ambitions of the team, Ferrari, will come first. There will be some unpopular decisions. And what he meant by that was we're going to take some track side decisions that the drivers may not like. We may even take some decisions for team orders for the whole championship and back Lewis Hamilton because he was closest to Kimi Antonelli to make a charge for the World Driver Championship. It all makes sense. We see other teams feel the same way. Mercedes, Toto Wolff, who runs that team with an iron fist, has done the same thing. So I'm going to take it to lap 43. Hamilton being held up by Leclerc. He's asking the team to get Leclerc to move out the way. He's slowing us down. We don't want to slow our second car down because we want to maximize the team's point scoring opportunity. That's putting Ferrari first, which is exactly what Vasseur said. Now we're going to get into the incident, and this gets crazy because I have caught out Charles Leclerc in a whopping lie, and I've also caught out Fred Vasseur covering up Charles Leclerc's lie. It's bonkers. And I'm also going to talk about why the press seem to give Charles Leclerc, Golden Boy, absolutely no stick for what his behaviour is. Nobody's called him out for what it is. Charles Leclerc, you're a dipstick. You're entitled, you're selfish, and you put yourself first in that moment, but no one's saying it, and I'm going to prove all those statements true in this video. So, let me tell you what happened. So, Charles Leclerc didn't follow Ferrari instructions to box. Leclerc appeared to ignore an instruction to the pit. We all saw it, which would have released Hamilton earlier. Now, in an interview, this is where it gets crazy. We all saw Leclerc's instruction on lap 43 to pit, which he ignored. In an interview after that incident, after the race to Canal Plus, Charles Leclerc said, the team first asked me at the beginning of the lap to come into the pits, but at the end of the lap, they asked me to stay out on track, he explained. So that's what I did. And I think 2 laps later, I finally came into the pits. So that's Leclerc saying I stayed out for an extra 2 laps because the team instructed me to do so. Is that true? Well, we can verify it. The race have studied Leclerc's radio transcript and found 0 evidence that call to box was cancelled. In fact, after querying the strategy, which gave him a minimal offset compared to George Russell, he was expressly reminded to come in. Engineer Brian Bozzi, box Charles, box. Leclerc, what do you mean box? Why? Stop 2 laps after Russell. 25 seconds silence. No one's responding to him because Leclerc's challenging the order to box. And Leclerc then says, hello. In the end, he complies. There was no change of order at all. There was a reinforcement of the order. So that's what we now know to be true. We also know Charles Leclerc lied to the media and no one's really saying anything about it. But this is where it gets even more frustrating. After Leclerc did box, this was the radio message from Lewis Hamilton. Great way of wasting time, guys. Good job. Snapped Hamilton. It cost him between 1 and 2 seconds. That could have been the difference of Hamilton getting a podium, not just for him, but for the team. More team points. Because when we saw Hamilton fighting George Russell at the end, he was obviously in the faster car, but he would have had more of a chance to get past him. It did cost him potentially a podium. Words from Hamilton's mouth to your ear, immediately after the race, Hamilton's first interview with Sky Sports F1 in the pen, he said the same thing. He said, I lost several seconds against Leclerc. That was the difference. And he was talking about that was a difference of getting a podium or not getting a podium. I don't know whether he repeated that in subsequent interviews or whether Ferrari brand suddenly went PR in the course and said, no, don't be saying that, Lewis. Don't say that. And I believe that is probably what happened. But that was the immediate response from Hamilton with his first interview questions after the race. And this is where it gets even more frustrating. Because after that incident, Hamilton is driving the car, and we get to lap 55 where Ocon has his incident, stops on the side of the track. We then get a virtual safety car, and Hamilton's like obviously thinking, I've done 30 laps on the hard tyre. I can now get a cheap pit stop which will take me to the end of the race, put on the softs. Seems logical. That's what he's thinking. So when the VSC's announced, Hamilton's on the team radio going, what's happening? And they don't call him into the pits. So he's going, what, am I a effing guinea pig here, guys? What is going on? Furious. Silence for maybe a couple of seconds, and then we get the call from the pit wall. Hamilton, box. They allow him to pit under the virtual safety car. He gets a cheap pit stop. Immediately after him, almost like stacking the cars at Ferrari, Leclerc comes in and takes his final pit stop as well. But at this point, now Hamilton has gained track position. He got the advantage of the VSC. Fair play. Maybe that's the Formula One gods pointing the finger at Leclerc and going, you dipstick. This is what you get for disobeying team orders. You've now lost track position and you are behind Hamilton. Hamilton then goes on a charge. Leclerc, by the way, is on brand new softs at this point. Hamilton's on softs which are about 6 or 7 laps old. Anyway, Hamilton's on a charge, catches up to George Russell, and that's where we see the battle. And this is where it gets even more annoying and why Charles Leclerc is a total dipstick. On the final lap of the race, well, Lewis Hamilton is using his battery to try and overtake George Russell to get that final podium and more points for the team. Charles Leclerc on the final lap, knowing Lewis Hamilton's in a battle, guns it up behind him and almost takes out both of the Ferraris. Like literally, instead of just holding his position like a good little soldier, no, he's trying to prove some sort of point on the last lap. And his closing speed on Hamilton was horrendous. Leclerc has to lock up. And I'm not joking. He missed the rear of Hamilton's car by inches. It could have taken both Ferraris out of the race. It's absolutely bonkers. And this is the final nail in the coffin. Charles, instead of Fred Vasseur saying, yeah, Charles, you're a dipstick. You did disobey team orders. And we've already caught Charles Leclerc out in his lie, what he said to Canal Plus after the race. This is what Vasseur says. Charles was supposed to pit. We extended 1 lap and it was a kind of confusion. I'm not worried about this. Everybody will be back in the briefing. They'll have a clear picture about the race. That's all he said about it, covering Charles Leclerc's tracks. Why does everyone do this for Charles Leclerc? The media haven't called him out on it. No one's pointing the finger at him. No one's angry enough about it. And even his team boss, Fred Vasseur, just smoothing it over. Yeah, we extended in 1 lap. We know from the radio what did you do? Did you do it by telepathy? Did you Uri Geller it to him? Did you just go, Charles, we won't say it on the radio, but you just extend another lap and no evidence of it on the team radio? I mean, what is it with this guy? Does he literally lay golden eggs instead of going to the toilet? Like, what is it? I have no idea. It drives me mad. So sorry if you're a Leclerc fan. I think he's incredibly quick over a lap. I think his qualifying record speaks for itself. But there is something that needs to be discussed, and that petulant behaviour, that Ferrari golden boy status, and it's not just, it's F1 golden boy in a lot of ways with regards to the press. I mean, it needs to be called out, doesn't it? In my opinion, anyway. But I do want to hear what you have to say about it. Lewis Hamilton said, I'm going to take the conversation offline. I hope Lewis Hamilton walked into that briefing, looked him right in the eye and went, Leclerc, you're a dipstick. You nearly took me out on the final lap of the race. And why didn't you just, pit when you were instructed to pit? Or let me through. That's exactly what George Russell did for Kimi Antonelli under the orders of Toto Wolff, who runs his team properly. Mercedes comes first. Kimi Antonelli's faster. George Russell, move out the way, let Kimi through. No messing. George Russell said one sentence. Is Kimi fighting for the win? They ignored his question and then made him comply. And he did it within moments. That's how you run a team. If your team, like Mercedes, and Mercedes comes first, you do as you're told and you do it instantly. You don't push back. Anyway, get in the comments, have your say. Sorry about the trigger warning if you're a Leclerc fan, but I will be back tonight for more Formula 1 news live at 7:30 UK time. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Do smash a like on the video as well. Get in the comments, have your say, and I'll leave a couple of videos here that I think you will enjoy. I'll see you tonight, 7:30. Ta-ta.